Hey ho superhumans, welcome back to our channel and another video. If you're new here, know that our whole goal is to truly guide you in rediscovering your own truth, aliveness, and freedom within. And I'm Lori. Today we're going to explore 7 ways of knowing if we're in a blissed out state or in a grounded state. Both are fine. Freedom is in knowing the difference. Our autonomic nervous system is housed in our brain stem, the oldest part of the brain that does absolutely everything automatic. It basically keeps you safe, keeps you protected throughout the day, and it's bouncing around 3 main zones all day. It's either detecting your environment is safe and holds you in what's called the grounded zone. If not, then it's going more into an activated zone, which is sympathetic nervous system. So it's more high energy. The higher the threat, the more energy is expended to fight and flight the threat. And then it can go up into the 3rd zone, which is called freeze, which is where different kind of chemicals pump in to really shut us down and numb us out a little bit and make us more chill so that we can actually manage better what's going on. Each section, each zone has a very wide continuum. Dr. Stephen Porges, the founder of the polyvagal theory, is known to have taken the zone called grounded and the zone called freeze and really started to distinguish the difference between the two. What's really important to note is that there are such subtle differences between being grounded and in bliss state, and both are fine. When I was introduced to this, it was almost from a place of there was something wrong with being in the freeze state, that we would catch someone or we would catch ourselves in that frozen state. But that's not the case at all. It's just that there's such freedom and aliveness in knowing the difference and choosing. So the first way to explore if you're truly grounded is to notice how aware you are of the present time, of your body, of your thoughts, of your senses. When we're truly grounded in that kind of chill state, our senses are still on. We're still noticing them and taking in all kinds of information, but it's just not really having much impact on us because we are feeling safe, we're feeling open, we're feeling trusting. Way number 2 is to recognize how engaged, focused, alert we are. Are we able to actually take something that would take a lot of detail and a lot of attention to figure out? Or are we more in a chilled state where, we couldn't care less and we can't really focus in on anything? Number 3 is to recognize really how sharp our senses are. Do we feel like we can see very, very clearly and we're noticing a lot of detail and a lot of vibrant colors, that we're hearing sounds very clearly? Because when we are more in a blissed out or frozen state, then what happens is that our senses are really subdued because this is more of a protection mode. Way number 4 is really to recognize how you're talking. Are you talking with tone, as I am now, with tonation? Is your volume quite high? Are you speaking more assertively? Or is your voice more soft, more monotone, quite low, and maybe even has like a dream-like tone, or maybe just more of a mumbling, which could be a sign that although we feel chill, we're more in that freeze state where we're more in a shutdown protective mode, which can also feel very relaxing. Number 5 is to really notice the pace at which we are moving and with what kind of intensity. When we are more in the freeze state versus a grounded state, we often move just more slowly as though we were in a dream state. If I was to ask you to tap to ground, you might be tapping very, very lightly. It's like there's not a lot of strength, because of the chemicals that are there to protect you and numb things out a little bit. So you can notice the pace of your walking, the pace of your talking, the pace of your breathing. Is it all reduced in some way? Number 6 is to notice if there are painful thoughts, emotions, sensations coming up. Are we able to actually look at them and be with them and let them pass through? Or is it more like we're in a bit of a fuzzy state where they're there, but we're not paying much attention to them, which can be more of the freeze state versus grounded, feeling safe and open and able to just look at them and maybe even allow them to transcend a little bit, because we are fully present. And the last one, number 7, is to really recognize how you are actually responding to someone interrupting you, someone talking with you, or even distracting sounds around. If we're grounded, that usually doesn't bother us, right? Because we're feeling quite safe and open and okay with whatever is going on. But if we are more in a blissed out state or in a frozen state in our nervous system, anything distracting us and trying to take us out of this place is going to be very frustrating. So again, the differences between the two are very, very subtle. And it's especially difficult to notice if we are in the freeze or blissed out state, because we are actually disconnected there. The nervous system is pumping in opioids and other chemicals to really help us feel better and safe. And so it's quite something to be able to notice that you were in there to begin with. But certainly doing practices like TRE and grounding really help you create the safety and openness within us that we can actually notice when we are up there. And it might be through noticing some kind of physical sign, or noticing something about our behavior, or it's our vision, or maybe it is our voice, or some of these ways that we've talked about today, so that when we notice them, we can actually ground and drop down out of it, which is really quite amazing. It doesn't mean we have to do it, but there's freedom in doing that, because you're then in the driver's seat of this nervous system, really watching. And of course, this is in cases of where it's perceived threats that have put us up there to begin with. If it's a real threat, we want to be there. If we're in a car accident and we're really hurt, our nervous system is going to put us there as high in that continuum as is needed to keep us as safe and protected as possible until help comes. And so that's never going to stop. What we're talking about here is more of the perceived threats to our ego identity that can send us up there, and the freedom and the aliveness and actually being able to detect the difference. So being grounded is really being in that zone of being safe and open, plus actually noticing that we do have some blissed out characteristics that are happening also. The two best kind of scenarios to really practice and learn and explore this for yourself is actually during meditation as well as during orgasm. Because these are the two types of situations where we will often go into the blissed out state, but it's very possible that we can learn to stay in the grounded state also. So be in that blissed out state, but also with connection to the body, to our sensations, to our emotion, to the environment, to make it an even fuller experience versus just being in one state, which in some ways, is not as fruitful as experiencing everything in those moments. So thanks loads for being here, trusting that exploring these ways and starting to determine the subtle ways that perhaps you are in freeze versus grounded really help you discover more of your own truth, your aliveness, and your freedom within. I really look forward to seeing you again on the next video, and I wish you a fantastic day. Bye-bye.